It is July 20th, 2020. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast, the Raw After Extreme Rules, the horror show. Still recovering from that swamp fight. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by Raj Giri. Hopefully Matt Morgan will be along soon. He's on a wacky misadventure, navigating his way through the internet, and hopefully he arrives at this destination, the Wrestling Inc. podcast. But until then, Raj, you dropped a bomb last night on your Twitter feed, and I almost want Matt to be here to talk about it, so maybe we should wait and discuss that. We'll tease that for later in the show. But first, what's going on before we get to Raw? What's going on in the world of wrestling today? We got some news stories.
So first off, Ric Flair, who has been on Raw these past like month and a half, his wife tested positive for COVID. So the New York Post, they ran the story about Flair. Sorry, me and Matt are texting. Hold on, just 1 second.
Yes. So Rick has been on Monday Night Raw in recent weeks. Been seen with Randy Orton. He was even advertised tonight for the show, but apparently his wife has tested positive for COVID. I believe Rick has tested negative. And there's been some coverage of this in the mainstream press, even, I guess, Ric Flair being a big name.
Yeah. So let me pull up the story real quick so I don't mess anything up. But yeah, so Flair's wife has been battling COVID. According to the New York Post, she's been very ill, while Flair says that he was tested negative. He says that he has not tested positive. His wife, they have a 5,000 square foot home. He lives in the basement. She lives upstairs on the third floor. She got sick. He didn't. So he said that he's fine. Now, on tonight's Raw, you saw the graphics where it had Ric Flair with Randy Orton. And even on commentary, they were talking about Flair being with Orton. So it seems like, and this was taped earlier in the day, so what it seemed like to me is that they must have learned, Flair must have told him about his wife's diagnosis, or it came out, and then they probably decided, later on to not have him on.
Got it. Scoops Geary getting all the text there.
I know. I will put the phone on silent. Sorry about that, guys. So, my guess is that we won't be. I don't know. If I was WWE, Flair is in a household with someone with COVID who's been ill with it. Flair, with his age and everything, I would just be taking every precaution and also not using him. But
yeah,
that makes the most sense.
Yeah, Raj, getting word from the chat room. So the audio on yours is a little low again tonight. Do you want to hit that gain switch, the top one, and see if maybe that makes a little bit of the magic happen there?
How is that?
That's a little better. Chat room, let us know if that did the trick. Our thoughts are with Rick's wife. Of course, Rick as well, and hopefully she beats this soon and Rick doesn't get it. And it's just, we were talking about this last night, Raja, between HIPAA privacy laws and then people that are choosing not to publicly come out and declare that they have this. And I completely understand the reasons for not doing so. It's tough, though, because every time we don't see a wrestler on WWE TV now, that's the assumption.
Right, and in a lot of cases it is, because for the tapings today, I guess, the script had to be rewritten for a lot of reasons. A lot of it had to do with some talent not being able to be there for whatever reason. And we've seen with Apollo Crews. It came out that he does have COVID. That's why he hasn't been on TV the past few weeks. They did that excuse at Extreme Rules, saying he didn't pass a physical. He had, I forgot what the injury they said was. But so I'm sure that in a lot of cases that is the case. It might be COVID related, but for sure in the case of Apollo. Yeah,
wishing him a speedy recovery. This is just no joke. I think more and more this is going to be happening. It's kind of crazy, and you've heard nothing more about enhanced safety precautions or anything on WWE's end, given how much this has affected their locker room and production staff.
No, they're proceeding like it's, business as usual. Obviously, it's caused a lot of changes booking-wise and just with the shows in general. There was that one episode where you could see a few weeks ago where Big Show was in like 10 segments. So you could see that, a lot of times it's not just a positive COVID test results. It's not getting the results back in time and things like that. So
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and poor Kayla Braxton caught COVID twice. She was just on her second go round with it.
right. Yeah.
It's
Well,
crazy.
it depends. The doctors, they say a lot of times COVID can stay in your system for a long time, and just that some tests will give you a negative, even though you still technically have it, and then the more sensitive tests will pick it up and you get the positive. So it's not known if she's gotten sick twice, and I don't think we've seen that yet, where someone has said they've been sick with COVID twice. So there have been people who've said they've gotten it again, but it's not clear how much of that is due to the faulty testing or just
Maybe.
the variances in testing as opposed to actually getting it. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, I'd love to see, in-depth news special with someone that's had COVID twice.
Sure. I feel like they're trying to just put out so many fires right now that the long game isn't even on people's minds. But I mean, I know people personally, I haven't really discussed it, but family members who have tested positive and thankfully, knock on wood, will continue to recover from this. But they're being told conflicting information. Some are saying quarantine for the next month. Some are saying quarantine for 10 more days. Some are saying you'll have antibodies in your system that will make it so you can't catch this for 30 days. Some are saying 90 days is the window. So I think there's just still so much that we don't know. And it's it's fantastic to survive this and not be one of the casualties, but just have that uncertainty about getting it. Again, the people I know that have had it, believe me, the last thing they want to do, the absolute last thing on their list, is catching this again, because even though they're surviving it, it's still kicking their ass.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. The other news story. Kairi Sane, she's done with WWE.
Wow.
Essentially, today was her last day, so she's probably taped a match for next week. Because they're usually doing 2 weeks of tapings now at each of these tapings. So I'm guessing Kairi loses to Bayley next week. But yeah, Kairi Sane, her run with WWE is coming up.
Wow. It's crazy. Vape Ross, Vape, $2 super chat saying, why would Vince book a 71-year-old Flair in a pandemic? Cash money. That's why, Ross. No ratings. I mean, and I think Rick doesn't seem like the most cautious guy. This is just saying this is someone with no knowledge of the man personally, just his public persona and the stories you hear. He doesn't strike someone who thinks, I'm the type of person, as people can tell on this podcast, every bad thing in the world, I'm convinced it's going to happen to me at some point. Rick does not seem to have that gene.
Right. Yeah, no. Rick's very carefree, and he's kind of always lived his life that way. So, for better or worse, I just hope he's okay. He's talk about the legends in this business, and he's at the top.
No, absolutely. So with Kairi, that's people are speculating maybe Shayna will be involved in her exit based on that promo tonight. Who knows? There's a lot of stuff that can happen. Hey, let's take a moment to thank the sponsor of this episode. We've got a returning sponsor to this episode, and that is Keeps.com. You've heard us talk about Keeps before. Guys, did you know that 2 out of 3 men will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35? And the best way to prevent hair loss is to do something about it now. Do it now while you still have your hair, while you're young, while you're virile, while you're vibrant. With Keeps, you can get treated from home. You used to have to go to the doctor's office for your hair loss prescription, but now thanks to Keeps, you can visit a doctor online, get that hair loss medication delivered right to your door. They make it easy and deliver your medication every 3 months, so you can say goodbye to the pharmacy checkout lines, those awkward doctor's visits. Believe me, right now, you don't want to go to a pharmacy, you don't want to go to a hospital, you don't have to see your doctor in person. Keeps offers all that convenience, all that safety, all that privacy from the comfort of your home. Now, Keeps offers generic versions of the only 2 FDA-approved hair loss products out there. You may have tried them before, but probably never for this price. And prevention is key. Keeps treatment can take up to 4 to 6 months or more to see results. So it's important to act fast. The sooner you start using Keeps, the more hair you'll save. Think of it that way. It's not, instead of losing hair, you're preserving hair. Keeps is helping make that happen. You can find out why Keeps has more 5-star reviews than any of its competitors, and nearly 100,000 men trust Keeps for their hair loss prevention medication. And Keeps treatment starts at just $10 a month. Plus, for a limited time, you can get your first month free. Now, Raj, you've been using Keeps.
Yeah, I've actually been using it for a few years. When I hit 40, I started noticing my hair coming out more in the showers, starting to thin a little bit, and I started doing Keeps, and I've been doing it for years. So this isn't a new product for me. I have my little bottle right here. You can see the top of my head. It's
I know. Look
full.
at that mane.
I know. Yeah.
And Raj took his shirt off a few weeks ago here with his throbbing muscles and his hairy chest. He's Italian. And I think this is the secret, you know?
Going for the Rusev look. But yeah, it's worked great, and I've seen it, just my hair being fuller, and I feel like I kind of nipped it in the bud before it became a real issue.
Yeah, so it's something to think about, guys, something to get started with. And again, Keeps treatment started just $10 a month, and for a limited time, you can get that first month for free. Here's what we want you to do. Go to keeps.com/INC to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's KEEPS.com, keeps.com/INC. And check it out. They've got real Keeps customer before and after photos, which you'll want to see on the website. They have all the information there. And again, that treatment starts at just $10 a month. And for a limited time, you get that first month free at keeps.com/INC, KEEPS.com/INC to try it free. And we thank Keeps for sponsoring the Wrestling Inc. podcast. And Keeps heard nothing but great stuff about Raj, and you being a customer. I mean, well, the results speak for itself. You are like you're like a hair reserve, like a preserving. Yeah, seriously. Yeah. So Leon's Duncan with a $5 super chat saying the eye for an eye match has hit the mainstream press. He saw it everywhere today. Our Leonza saw it everywhere today. My non-wrestling friends asked about it and asked, did Rey really lose an eye?
Yeah. Okay. I just think stips like that are just embarrassing in my opinion. And me and Glenn, we were talking about this before. We disagreed. I thought Extreme Rules was just a totally embarrassing pay-per-view that I think it just, you show it to, if you try to get new fans in and they watch that, they would just be like, you are the biggest geek for watching this stuff. I just think, wrestling's missing the mark as far as getting personalities that will get over to a mainstream crowd.
And Leonza, pardon me if you're female. I don't mean to misgender you. For some reason, I just always default to he with this chat room.
Who was that?
Leonza Duncan, the super chat. Again, but thank you, Leonza, for your super chat.
Thank you.
You don't have to give another super chat to clarify that point for me, but I'll remember in the future.
So Rey, his contract has been up. He's been working without a contract. Apparently, him and WWE have been trying to work out a new deal. Rey flew out last week to try to work something out. And, if he signs, he gets his eye back. They kind of left that open with that medical update. Otherwise, he's gone without an eye. So... But yeah, so I mean, technically Rey could show up on AEW next week. This week's is taped, but he could show up next week, as can all these other guys, Rusev and all these other free agents. But yeah.
Yeah, everything. What was the last Friday at midnight? That's when everything expired.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. All right, should we get into? Let's go ahead and get into Raw.
Juan Garcia saying I look like Bobby Hill with that hair. Thank you. And I wore the blue shirt tonight. I'm just asking for it, asking for the comparisons. Let's talk about Monday Raw tonight. Speaking of that eye for an eye match, Seth Rollins came out to the crowd chanting "shame." Like, this is the silliest shit. Like,
so apparently, when Seth Rollins puked.
Yeah.
At Extreme Rules, there was actually a bit where Rey's eye does come out. Like, he gets hit and the eye comes out. And that's when Seth was supposed to puke. Vince hated it after he saw it, and they cut it out. But, yeah, there was actually a chunk there that was edited.
Well, you could see if you looked at the still, like I saw the screenshot, you could see Rey was holding a prosthetic eye underneath.
Yeah, it was like a marble
glove. Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't go like the scene in Stand By Me and have Seth start vomiting, and then people are slipping in it and falling over, and it would just be like a bit. Then everyone in the audience started vomiting. Like, that would have been truly a horror show. Like, that was the part last night when Seth did the puke angle. I was just, this is so silly.
Right. Yeah. It makes a little more sense now that you know that there was it was. I guess it was like the Walking Dead with Glenn. I don't know if you ever saw that.
I have not seen The Walking Dead.
There was a grotesque episode where this guy gets his eye knocked out after he gets hit with a baseball bat.
I don't know why they thought this was a good idea. So they gave an update saying that he's being treated at a local medical facility and looks to be retaining his vision.
It's so dumb.
Yes.
You know, and I brought up on Twitter, like, is this the dumbest wrestling stip ever? And some people were saying, like, Viagra on a pole, or, you know, the diapers match, or, you know, a couple other matches like that. But those at least were not so far beyond the, you know, where you have to suspend your disbelief so badly. And this was just another level. And, I mean, this was just so stupid. It was so dumb. Well, but it did generate some interest, so.
Joe Emo Howling Wolf, $5 super chat saying Impact greater than AEW. Yeah, I said it. Let me tell you, we had some diehard Impact fans that thought it was adding insult to injury, that no one was talking about Slammiversary Saturday night. I've heard nothing but good things about it. And then WWE puts on Extreme Rules the night after and just supposedly paled in comparison. I tried watching some of Slammiversary. I tried to watch Heath's debut, but the sound issues just really took me out of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with Impact. You know, you get Heath Slater, it's one of your big surprises, and then your mic's not working correctly. You could barely hear what he's saying. You know, it's one of those things. That's great that Impact had a lot more interest for this pay-per-view than other ones in the past.
Sure.
But also, realistically, the reason why they had the more interest is because they're like, hey, guess which fired WWE guys we're going to get? And it's not like... it's not their current storylines or their current talent that's moving the interest on the pay-per-view. Like in the past, they've had a couple that did with Tessa. But with this one, it was just all, what fired guys are we going to get? And so,
hey, that's old school TNA Impact right there, you know?
Right.
Joe Y, thanks for the $5 super chat. No message, just here's some money.
Thank you.
It's like on your birthday. It's just the card. They don't even write anything. Your grandma just puts the $5 bill right in there. And it's like, what better way to say I love you than with cold hard cash?
Yeah. So Impact, they had Heath Slater, Gallows and Anderson. Obviously, they announced that earlier in the day. Eric Young, and then also a quick EC3 vignette that aired at the end. So good for them. I think all those guys can do well there. But, you know, collectively on TV, none of them have had a win on TV this year. That's how badly WWE was using them. So they definitely are going to do better in Impact.
So Seth came out there and pontificated on this eye for an eye match. Said the WWE universe made him into what he is. Like this was like, I think about everything else Seth has done. Does this seem like the guy, the star of the show? He's more front and center than Drew is at this point.
Yeah, I mean, no one really feels like a larger than life superstar on this show or on WWE TV right now, other than Randy Orton, in my opinion. They are doing the right things with Drew as far as protecting him. They're not having him go 50-50, but Drew is just, I mean, I think part of it is that his whole push has been in this COVID environment with no real fans, and that's tough. And and no one, and so you're watching 3 hours of a show where no one feels like a big star. And there was a lot on the show I thought was good. I thought this episode of Raw was better than the past few weeks. It's been better than what they've been doing, but ultimately it's a lot of guys. It's just a bunch of mid-card guys. And until they start pushing some people as special, and not just one guy, you know, you have a handful of guys on each show that are really special, that, you know, you have a couple people an hour at least that stand out. Until you start doing that, it makes for a long show.
Steve Marcuccioli, $2.99, says, would you book Tessa to debut at Evolution 2?
I mean, we don't even know if they're doing an Evolution 2, but
conventional wisdom seems to think that one is happening.
It would have been last year, right? Evolution 1 was 2 years ago.
True.
I mean, they could. I mean, there's no reason not to, especially with the pandemic. You could do a special show, but the fact that they didn't do one last year makes me think that it's not on the books. I haven't heard anything. I'll just put it that way. But Tessa, most of the WWE audience does not know who she is. You know,
It's true.
It's the smart fans. So you would still have to kind of introduce her. I don't know if you go the route of her going to NXT first or just go to the main roster, get her some wins, do the video packages on her heritage and, you know, her family lineage, and you could have something right off the bat.
Yeah. So Aleister Black came out, interrupted Seth Rollins, and that led to Seth Rollins versus Aleister Black. Decent match, bit of back and forth. Seth getting the win with the stomp. And why is Aleister Black like out there getting Rey Mysterio's back? I mean, I get that Rey wasn't there tonight. Dominic wasn't there.
Yeah, I mean, they've been friends. You know, they've been teaming up. They had put the Rey mask on Aleister a couple weeks ago. I just think they've humanized Aleister Black. They've taken everything that's special about him, just kind of made him another guy pretty quickly.
I know. Does he even believe in Satan anymore?
His character, he's just, it's just, they made him bland as toast. He's just there. That sucked because he had such a cool character. It was different than everything else on the show.
Congratulations, WWE. You made Satan not cool.
But they brought him down fast. Remember, it was at WrestleMania. He's beating Lashley, and here he is now.
Yeah. Rollins standing tall, Murphy joining him in there. Then they were getting into it after, I don't know. I feel like when they open with this, Raj, I really start thinking about, can I call in sick tonight? Can I just do anything? Like, this is, to me, because I always know one of these openings is going to be about a half an hour long. Like, it's never going to be interesting. It's going to be the same guys mixing it up week in and week out.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what can you say? This is one of those,
Yeah. MVP. It's kind of weird, right? MVP holding the U.S. title this way. Sasha tonight holding the Raw Women's title that way.
I thought so too. I thought it's weird to do two on the same show.
Yes. Maybe that's where Sasha got the idea.
Yeah, but two fake champions, you know,
I know.
I see it doing it once, and it makes sense for MVP because Apollo can't be there. But to do it twice, But yeah, I got to say, MVP has been killing it. He just comes across like a star. They beat him all the time, so it's hard for him to get real momentum, but he stands out.
He does, but I think it's hurting Lashley because Lashley now looks like his sidekick.
Well, I think the storyline right now is MVP to get to Apollo. Apollo beats MVP, and then you go to Apollo and Lashley, and that's when you focus more on Lashley. But until Apollo's back, you're kind of stuck in limbo. Anthony Y with the $1.99 super chat. Yeah, Regal said he's going to have a huge announcement this Wednesday.
Oh.
He's wondering if it's Evolution 2.
NXT would be the night to do it.
Oops, wrong one.
Yeah.
It could be. I mean, maybe they decided to drop the takeover and do an Evolution at SummerSlam weekend.
Oh, maybe. I just think it'll help them get a ratings win back over NXT. I can't believe they stumbled so badly this past Wednesday after 2 weeks winning in a row.
Yeah, they just took the night off, and it showed.
So 24/7 champion R-Truth was backstage talking to MVP, giving him a hard time. Shelton Benjamin showed up, took that 24/7 title off of R-Truth. Then we had MVP out there with Shelton and with Bobby. This led to a match of MVP, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin versus Cedric Alexander, Ricochet, and a returning Mustafa Ali. He's got both his names now. Not the hacker that we know of anymore. This was a pretty lengthy 6-man tag.
It was really good. First of all, I think I like Shelton being used. He's been underutilized, and he still can go. I like the idea of him, MVP, and Lashley being a group. I think that's great.
The Hurt Business.
The Hurt Business. I'm not a big fan of that name. Maybe it'll grow on me.
The Hurt Business.
Right.
You know, a lot of businesses are hurting in this time due to COVID-19 and the world struggles.
Yeah.
The Hurt Business.
WWE.
Maybe they can qualify for a PPP loan.
They've been having a hard time coming up with cool names for groups.
The Hurt Business.
Yes, so the Hurt Business. I mean, they were called the Beatdown Clan in Impact. They had Kenny King with them.
Better name.
Way better name. But yeah, the Hurt Business. But we'll see. But I like that idea. But they beat them on the first night that they're put together, and that just
But Mustafa got a win coming back.
Yeah, but you could have given Mustafa a win somewhere else. You could have had it be Ricochet and Cedric and anyone else. There's a ton of guys in the back. And then
Are there a ton of guys in the back anymore?
There's enough.
I feel like everyone there.
They have people on main event. The people on main event could do.
Who was on main
duty.
event tonight?
I don't know. I mean, the spoilers don't get out now. But last week,
that's true.
Yeah. I'm forgetting who was on last week. Shayna Baszler was in act. Riddick Moss.
That is someone I've not thought about since the last time his name came up on this podcast.
Yeah. Well, you could have had, Mustafa beat Andrade. They're not really protecting him that much. I know they were in the tag match, but you could have changed it. And anyway, the point is Mustafa could have beaten Murphy, and you could have put someone else in that spot and get the Hurt Business a win.
Tammy pointing out they don't build strong groups. They did the same with Zelina's group, losing nearly every week.
Yeah, they're dead on arrival. When you're beating them right off the bat. Could you imagine if the day Evolution was formed and Triple H sees the script and they're losing that night? You think Triple H would take that? There's no way in hell. Or the NWO that night, they're like, you guys are going to be in a triple threat or, a six-man tag and lose. Oh
Stranger things have happened.
When you're not giving these guys a chance to get steam right off the bat, it just, again, this is why they're keeping everyone down.
Even didn't the Social Outcasts get a win the night they debuted?
I forget.
I don't know.
When was the last time WWE had a real strong faction?
The Shield.
The Shield, and they weren't losing their first night.
I feel like there was another one.
The Wyatt family.
Yeah.
Kinda.
The
Shield for sure, because they were all three of them were strong.
So Randy Orton cutting a promo talking about what he did to Edge, what he did to Christian, and what he's going to do to Big Show tonight. Then back from the break, Ron Simmons backstage talking the Viking Raiders. Then a package on Big Show's career, hyping up tonight's unsanctioned match.
Yeah. I like when they do that. It makes the match feel bigger.
Christian via satellite using a pair of headphones. WWE couldn't be bothered to send him a real mic to put out something on international television in front of
Christian had
2
a
million
podcast.
people.
He's got to have a mic somewhere.
I know. Like, what's up with this? What's up with this? It doesn't cost that much.
Right.
They could FedEx these out to people. Renee on the pre-show yesterday. Renee podcast. Renee does stuff. Why is Renee all dressed up and sitting there using basic iPhone headphones?
Yeah.
Justin Lopez, $5. Slater beat Ziggler. Night 1, the Social Outcasts were formed.
Well, there we go. Well, that's how it should be.
Look at the legacy they left us.
When you form a new act, you should be getting a win right off the bat. I think the Spirit Squad probably, I'm sure, weren't beaten the first night they were on.
Yeah. Bianca Belair.
New Day. They've always been more of a team as opposed to a faction. You know what I mean? Like a faction, I look at more as like separate acts together, as opposed to a tag team, like Sanity or New Day.
Bianca
Forgotten
Belair.
Sons who have been forgotten.
You heard anything? What's the word on the Forgotten Sons?
I think it looks like they pulled a plug on it.
Wow, you don't say.
Yeah, I think they had what are their names again? Steve Cutler and Wesley Blake. They had them lose a nothing match on SmackDown a couple weeks ago, right? That seemed like
I have
that
no
was
recollection of that.
Send off.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So Peyton Royce backstage talking smack to Bianca Belair and Ruby Riott. No Billy Kay tonight. Bianca and Ruby. Not my first choice for a pairing, but they did okay tonight. I think they could get some chemistry if they keep this going.
some of the stuff they script for these guys, I don't know. Bianca has so much charisma, and I just feel like they're doing her a disservice with some of the stuff they're having her say.
I agree. But this led to Peyton Royce versus Ruby Riott. Ruby Riott getting a win. She's on a roll.
Did she get a win last week?
It was part of a tag match, but stopped her. What'd she lose, like 17 matches in a row before that?
Oh, I don't think she's won it since some point last year. Yeah. So, I mean, when you've beaten someone so many times, when they win, does it really mean anything? She is where she is. Bianca has the potential. I think, treat her, book her carefully, and not just going 50-50.
I agree.
But they didn't even mention Billie Kay tonight.
Didn't
right?
they? I thought they
commentary, did they?
I mean, they mentioned she wasn't there. They mentioned backstage in the promo when Ruby and Bianca were like, "Hey, your friend ain't here to have your back. What are you going to do?"
Yeah.
Saw backstage with Andrade, Angel Garza, and Zelina Vega. Talking smack about the Street Profits. Street Profits showed up. Led to a match, the Street Profits versus Angel Garza and Andrade. Decent length match with the Street Profits picking up a win at the end.
Yeah. Man, Montez Ford, he's so athletic. He does just some crazy stuff in there.
Yeah. They're great. And they're one of the ones where look at all the momentum they had. That terrible angle with the Viking Raiders and going bowling and everything really killed. I mean, I'm now nostalgic for the days where they were backstage, like the Jay and Silent Bob of Monday Night Raw, telling us what was going on and what was coming up.
Yeah, or where they were doing the weekend updates.
No, I don't know about that. Come on, like that was never good.
No. Yeah, no, they're getting back some steam, so that's good.
Yeah.
It just seems weird to beat Garza and Andrade already. I thought this feud was going to go a little longer, but I mean, if they're going to keep feuding, why have the champions already get their win? But that's WWE booking right now.
Yeah. So, video package showing us what happened last night at Extreme Rules, the horror show with Sasha Banks and Asuka, with Bayley and the controversial win, the ref getting the green mist in the eyes, Bayley putting on the ref shirt, calling for the bell. Bayley and Sasha out to the ring. Asuka came out just furious. Them kind of promo saying how Asuka was handed the title by Becky Lynch. Asuka accompanied by Kairi Sane. And then finally Stephanie McMahon came on the big screen and said that next Monday it's going to be Asuka versus Sasha to determine who the Raw Women's Champion is. But right now, neither of them are.
Yeah. So... I feel like they should give it to Sasha. I think I feel like Sasha and Bayley have some momentum, and they feel, I don't know, they're clicking, and they stand out, and I just think having them being the power trip, the power trip of the women's division right now would be a cool little storyline. So yeah.
By the way, it should tell you something about the real deal safety precautions is Stephanie McMahon won't come in and be in the studio. Like that should really tell you something about how safe they truly think it is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Did you know that the original finish at the pay-per-view was supposed to be Asuka winning, and then it was changed? Yeah.
Interesting.
So it looks like it was changed to get this 1 week rating. So if they're sticking with their original plans, that means that Asuka's winning.
It's 1 week where Sasha pretends to be the champion.
Right. It just adds a little something for the Raw match. I have a feeling because ratings are so low that you're going to see TV being more of taking more of a precedence than pay-per-view.
Joe Y, $5. Is the real life couple past or present better than Montez and the EST? Both are future stars. Montez needs to find a barber window.
I thought Montez looked cool.
Well, no, he needs to find a barber window for Angelo Dawkins to put him through.
Oh, God. Jeez. Slow tonight.
They're great. I mean, there have been other great couples, though.
No, they're up there. I mean, as far as
Yeah.
real star potential, yeah, for sure.
So this match, Bayley versus Kairi Sane. Pretty lengthy match. And then in between this, we got a promo from Shayna Baszler. The promo was okay until the end when she was taking the weird pauses. She has a vested interest in this match, the same way a shark has a vested interest.
Well,
anytime it
real
sees
quick,
its prey in the water.
Did you mention that Kairi won?
No, because this promo happened during the match.
Oh, it was during the match. You're right. My bad. No, I thought this promo sucked. I just don't. These. I think Shayna's just bad with these scripted promos. I don't know. I just don't buy. And she. I've said it many times. She's a legit badass. She really could destroy people, but she doesn't convey it with these promos. And I just think she comes across as a really weak promo.
Alonzo Smith pointing out Jimmy Uso and Naomi. That is a mixed tag match I would love to see between Bianca and Montez and Jimmy and Naomi. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So Kairi winning in perhaps what was her last match, although we think she taped one more.
Yeah, it's got to be. It makes no sense for Kairi to be beating the women's champion, even if it's to set up a rematch. You could do it where Kairi gets beat, wants a rematch, and Bayley says the only way she'll give a rematch is if Kairi says, if Kairi leaves the company or, something like that. But you should only beat the champions when you really need to. Mm-hmm. And especially to someone that's going to be gone, who's gone today, and just whatever she taped for next week. So this finish made no sense to me. Just weaken your champs.
Well, speaking of things that make no sense, Drew McIntyre came out tonight to talk about his next challenger and was teasing SummerSlam, and then wouldn't you know it, out comes Dolph Ziggler. Wants a rematch. This time Drew's going to pick the stipulation, but he's not going to tell Dolph till right before it starts. This is happening next week, not at SummerSlam.
This is next week. Yeah. Thank God it's not at SummerSlam. Jesus, that would be just pissing away a month and change of TV for a feud no one cares about. No one thinks that Dolph is going to win.
I don't think Dolph could have won last night if he'd announced the stipulation was I win and you lose. Still, somehow Drew would have beat Dolph.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very unbelievable. This is going to start to hurt Drew. I think tonight's the night it started to hurt Drew.
I mean, when I'm watching the show, Drew didn't really stand out. Again, I think not having the crowd and he's getting his whole push during not having a crowd, and that's hurting him. But he's also not being given the best material either.
It's true. But you got to have someone good. You got to have someone to riff with,
Yeah, I mean, look, his first feud was Seth Rollins, who had just lost at WrestleMania. Then he had Lashley. Lashley had also lost at WrestleMania. I mean, they did give Lashley a couple wins at least before they went to Drew. And they haven't given him that opponent that really builds him up.
It's like with Mariah Carey, when she does the fantasy remix, she brings in ODB, she brings in Jay-Z. She's not bringing in Vanilla Ice. She's not bringing in Snow. She's not bringing people that are going to make her look like a lesser. You got to bring in someone at the top of their game to go toe-to-toe with you. That's the key to elevating both parties. Matt Morgan.
Like your both weak asses need to bring me on the show.
It's true. We bring Matt Morgan, and we're all elevated.
I apologize. It is 12:01 a.m. For the record, no joke. I was working until about 11:51 p.m.
Wow.
I apologize. Seriously, sincerely.
It's all good, dude. We're getting through Raw. If you missed Raw tonight, you didn't miss much.
Oh my God, no, of course. I should my phone. It was terrible. I'm calling spade a spade. Tell me it wasn't.
Yeah, no, it was bad. Well, and then the unsanctioned match.
Raw was actually better tonight than it's been in weeks since.
Yeah, but
no way. No way.
What didn't you like on the show?
Are you really asking me this?
Yeah.
All right. From the beginning of the entrance music to the end of it.
Name one segment that was bad tonight. I can't think of any segment that I would say was bad.
Raj, you mark, stop.
Big Show versus Randy Orton.
That was the way
starters.
Orton killed Big Show was awesome. They got him the heat. He's going to the main event of SummerSlam. That's exactly what they should have done.
Okay, but does anybody take Big Show seriously?
Yeah.
In this day and age.
I mean, he's a legend. But yeah, I mean,
He's
look,
supposed to be.
It's a TV match.
He's a legend.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Technically, Glenn, he's correct. Raj is correct. He's a Hall of Famer.
Sure.
Just waiting to happen. Yeah, that's all great. But he's an old gray-haired beard-having has-been. Just being honest, like, you don't see me out there wrestling, right? Because I have a sweet gray beard.
Yeah, you still look like you're in your prime, Matt. There's a difference, you know?
There's a reason why I shave this, because this shit is getting gray.
I understand.
And I would never get on national television supporting a gray beard.
Good to know. Just that whole promo where we used to tag team together, the hammer and the chisel. I just wasn't. They were trying to make me really care about this, and I just didn't care.
Of course you did. I agree.
So,
Raj, what is? Hang on. Let's ask Raj. Raj, what is your all of a sudden interest in Raw? Why are you popping so hard for it?
No, I mean, most of the stuff on the show, there was a lot of, this was the best show that they've done in a few weeks. Now, that doesn't mean it's good compared to, but there was, I mean, again, Matt, what was the worst thing? What was the worst thing on the show?
Opponent X versus opponent Y? I don't fucking know. I just know, I honestly, just the entire summation of it, I'm being serious, is that there's not one match that made me stop and go, okay, Larissa, my wife, Larissa, I've got to stop mailing these mailers out to people to stop to watch this right now. That did not happen. Not once.
Yeah. There were some moments I
Whereas
was
on
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. Whereas on SmackDown, that definitely happened twice during that show.
I was interested to see what happened with Sasha and Asuka tonight. I thought just saying, oh, they're going to have a championship match next week. Okay, they're kicking the can down the road a little bit. But,
yep.
Yeah, I think here was the big miscalculation. That they thought after everything that happened last night with Sasha and Asuka, and granted, I know that Bray and Braun are not on Raw, but to open with the eye for the eye match, you give the first half an hour to Seth's feelings about how he felt bad and conflicted about a match that he hyped so much, just seemed like a bit of a miscalculation.
Okay. But they put to defend like Raj's opinion on the show, I agree with him on this factor. Look, if you're gonna go that crazy into a storyline, we should be hearing Seth Rollins talking for a good 30 minutes on what this was like. I agree with you.
Okay. So
it did not entertain me for the record.
As Tammy is pointing out, it was a better show, but that's really not saying much.
Thank you, Tammy, who needs to be the fourth component of this show. I will say for the fifth time.
Yes. A couple super chats. Peter Bahi, $5. Hey, Matt, just to let you know, Peter Cullen was the voice of Optimus Prime. Call back to last night.
Hey, Peter Bahi, can you see this? Hang on. Here it comes. Here it comes.
Matt was trying to show his wedding ring, funny, but it wouldn't fit in the frame.
And the funniest part is our fans are like on every inside joke we've ever told on this show.
Yes. Sumed B, Matt, the opening of this week's Being the Elite with Bullet Club reunion flashback was better than the last 20 Raws. Please tell me you managed to watch it.
Definitely.
And Terry Allen Jr., $2. My weekend CD arrived Sunday. Loves Blinding Lights. Raja's theme song. And
NWO Raj. Yes. NWO Raj. Raj, you should be making t-shirts out of this like nobody's business. You're missing out a huge thing here.
Jackson Callens, $1.99. Matt, Raj watched the Goonies. The biggest development that's ever happened in
Jackson.
history of this podcast.
It's halfway
All right,
through.
so first we should never admit who we're better friends with on this show that dials in or calls in, but Jackson is definitely one of ours. We
Yes.
love Jackson Cowens. Jackson, great call. I am flabbergasted just as much as you are that Raj finally, out of like left field, decided to watch the Goonies. Like it was like 6 months after the fact that he said, "Screw it, I'm going to watch the Goonies." So
My neighbor, he has the DVD, and so we were talking the other night and mentioned I didn't
What?
have it, so he gave me the DVD. So I haven't watched a DVD in years, so it was weird
Me
dusting
too,
off
to
the
be
DVD,
fair.
the Blu-ray player.
what'd you think of it?
I'm halfway through, but it's pretty good. I might finish it tonight, depending on
Attaboy.
what the workload is after this.
There you go. You finally understand.
Awesome. It's a huge deal. I agree.
It is. I always think, I mean, but it's kind of weird though, right, Raj? We talked about this before. When you watch something that you've heard so much of, it's like, I didn't watch The Exorcist until like 10 years ago. And I felt like The Exorcist has just been ruined for me because I'd heard about it my entire life. I'd seen all the parodies. Like, I felt like I knew the entire movie before I got into it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's not many others where I've heard a lot about before I got a chance to watch it. So it's weird because I always thought the movie took place in like a cavern or something, like a.
Oh, you're not to that part yet?
Oh, I guess not. They're in like the restaurant downstairs.
Okay, you got to keep watching. You got to keep watching, see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah. The best parts are still lie ahead in this film.
All right.
You're actually not even halfway through. You're like maybe to the end of Act 1.
Okay. All right.
It's very exciting. I rewatched Space Camp the other night. That's the kind of weekend I had.
Space Camp, really?
We were thinking about because Kelly Preston passed away last week. We were trying to think of a Kelly Preston movie to watch, and we decided to watch Space Camp. Yeah, you know,
Okay.
with a Joaquin Phoenix in it. I'd forgotten how annoying he was quoting Star Wars the entire time. He is like the worst thing in that movie.
Terrible,
Never
Brian.
saw
You're going
that.
to help saying that. You're
It's
going to help
true.
saying that.
He was great in Parenthood. Parenthood's like one of my all-time favorite films, and he was great in it. But yeah, Space Camp, he was annoying. Carlos Olaya, $4.99. Hey Matt, if you had the chance to wrestle one more match, who would you choose from the current AEW or WWE roster?
That's tough. Boy. Yeah, that's really tough because they've done a terrible job of booking their big man in AEW, right?
Yeah.
But I'd love to work Luchasaurus. Give me 20 minutes with Luchasaurus and we would tear it down.
Yeah. That'd be a hell of a match.
I thought you were gonna say like AJ or something. You've worked it with AJ before, right?
Yeah, millions of times.
Yeah.
But Luchasaurus, I really dig. It's hard to because he's trying so hard to fit his gimmick and character into so many different things. But just straight up, he's so athletic and he's very like forward thinking in his offense. Like, yeah, definitely Luchasaurus.
There you have it. So tonight ended with Big Show beating down Randy Orton standing tall.
Did anybody believe that? Did anybody?
I mean, Big Show doesn't seem like the kind of guy that's got speed going for him, so I would believe that someone a little more nimble could take him out.
Listen, I'm not trying to be a jerk here. I love Big Show as like a wrestling fan, not as a human being. I'm just being honest. But as a wrestling fan, I was a huge Giant mark. I really was. And I bought the whole hook, line, and sinker that he was Andre the Giant's like kid. I did. But nobody's buying and beating Randy Orton in 2020. Come on. Am I alone?
I mean,
am I alone?
From a storyline standpoint, this looked like it was writing Big Show off, like with the punt and everything, the RKOs, and it just is continuing to build Randy Orton back as kind of that legend killer. And you know, he was doing it with Edge, he did it with Christian, and Big Show's.
Yes.
There's not many other legends on the roster, so from a storytelling
this is
standpoint,
true. From legend killer standpoint, yes, you're correct. But did anybody at any point in time tonight go, I wonder if Randy's in jeopardy?
No, never.
No.
Never. So a fan of ours, JPMK19. The fans love to have their fun. Sent
fans.
this that he ran through the child filter right there.
Is that you?
That's me.
Wow.
Pretty accurate representation.
As what?
Well, as a child, that is
That's the
very
child
much how I
filter.
look. Yeah. They're using the technology, Matt, to make me look young, younger than I am.
God, folks, you know I'm old when Glenn's breaking down to me like the technology old. Jeez Louise.
Yes. It's crazy. This baby face of mine, never gonna shed it fully.
You're a good man, Glenn.
I do what I can. So what else do we got, Raj? What else do we got?
So Raw, I thought again. I thought after the last few weeks were pretty atrocious. I think they're going to see a little bounce back, in the ratings this week. Probably.
You think this week's show will pick up ratings?
Yeah, I think it'll be up from the last couple. Yeah, I think someone said sent a message saying 1.7 million, and that's kind of what I'm guessing, like high 1.6, 1.7. Last week it did a 1.5 something, which was the lowest in history. So I think it'll be up a little.
To be fair, all right, we got to be honest and be truthful. P.S. They're running in arenas with no fans. Like this. I wish more, besides our show, other shows would talk more honestly about this. Don't you think? Because it's so hard, guys. I'm just speaking from a wrestler standpoint. It is next to impossible to go and wrestle in front of an arena full of nobody cheering or booing. It's so hard. So hard.
And I get that. I feel like we graded them on a huge curve probably through WrestleMania. And at WrestleMania, we were all stoked with the cinematic matches. We're saying, okay, here's some interesting stuff they can do. And then they took that momentum, and we've only really seen that Money in the Bank and then in Extreme Rules before like a single match each night. So I think that it's just the creativity hasn't been there. I think AEW's had some really good weeks in this age and era. Sure. And I feel NXT has and SmackDown has. Raw is probably the one. What was it? Week 2, Pritchard took over. We were like, well, this was a faster paced Raw. Yeah. But even tonight, because of a lot of the roster being out, tonight felt like 6 big segments. It felt like everything was a half an hour, and there were a couple little appetizers in between. But it really, for me, it just dragged it.
Raj, what'd you think?
I thought, I mean, look. This product right now is. I do not think I'd be watching it if I didn't.
How pissed off are you? Honestly, how pissed off are you that you had to cover this? Be honest, Raj.
There are worse things I could be. I mean, there are harder jobs I could be doing.
If Raj gets a time machine, he goes back to 1998, 1999, and says start a site around Pokemon instead. You'll be much happier in the long run.
No, I mean wrestling just right
What'd
now.
You think?
I think if you look at Matt, your point, it's of course definitely COVID has. The no fans has hurt all of wrestling. AEW, they've done their lowest numbers. NXT, Raw, SmackDown, all doing their lowest 18 to 49 numbers and overall. But you look at Raw, and they're doing these eyeball extraction matches and things like that. So is this the best we're getting creatively? And if it is, and they're still doing the low numbers, then it is what it is. But I can't. All the wrestlers are 50-50. They're not doing anything special. They're not making anyone look special. Haven't been doing it for years. So
right. But he's 100% right, folks. Love him, hate him, being different with him. Raj is 1,000% spot on the money. I agree. As a wrestler, as a former wrestler, and more importantly, as a humongous mark, I love pro wrestling. So I hate shitting. You know what I mean? I don't like it. I feel like I'm adding to the negativity that is pro wrestling when it's time to shit on it. I don't like it. I can't stand it. But what do you do? Seriously, when we're being asked to suspend our disbelief that somebody's eyeball is going to be taken out of his skull. Check, please.
they could have had more fun with it. I mean, Seth should have brought somebody there and be like, this young man is blind, and Rey, I'm going to take out your eye, and it's not going to go to waste. I'm going to donate it to this blind young man to give him the power of your sight.
Raj, please support me on this. That this was absolute insanity that we were supposed to spend our disbelief. Please, Raj.
Oh, I agree 100%. It was
all right, really quick,
it's
Raj.
The dumbest step I've ever seen.
Yeah, thank you. Raj, what was the point of that match that you were like, okay, this is just craziness?
Well, Rey Mysterio's on his way out, apparently, unless he resigns. So it was take out his eye unless he resigns.
Raj, his eye. We're literally talking in a normal conversation.
Sadly enough, that's kind of what it is. They left it open that he could get his eye back.
They said he had his vision. He still had his vision, they said tonight.
Terrible. This is so rotten.
I know. The only guy I know that lives around here that follows wrestling, he canceled his network subscription today, and he's had it for. He's not as big of a fan. He doesn't watch every episode of Raw, SmackDown, but he did watch Extreme. He does watch one or the other, most weeks, and yeah, he saw Extreme Rules and canceled.
Good. I'm being dead serious. I'm not trying to say I have to crap on the business because, guys, look. I made so much of my 13-year wrestling career on people like contributing and coming to shows and paying money. I get it, but to expect somebody to suspend their disbelief for this stuff? Seriously, work harder, or better yet, don't even go in this direction.
I know. Richard Havens saying,
seriously,
put a googly eye on Rey and have him come out with a big googly eye.
So, P.S. We have the best chat room. They DM me all the time, and they're way funnier than what they put on our message chats.
Yeah,
so funny.
No, absolutely. I mean, I don't know, man. And I think so. Part of it, I think, the other reason why other wrestling sites and podcasts probably aren't as critical, and I got to hand it to our fans. Like, I think our fans are in the same boat with us. I think if you want a raw, go WWE podcast that's out there. I think, we're fair. We talk about the things we like. We talk about the things we don't like. We hear from a lot of people that don't watch the shows. They just watch our podcasts. And what's interesting about it is I feel like, Raj, I know it's kind of a weird position for any podcast to be like, well, I'm not going to sit here and just crap completely on the product because if you lose all interest, you're not going to watch the podcast anymore or wrestling to begin with. But I feel like we found our audience. I mean, I look at the people that are here tonight. This is actually up on a Monday, and you probably took it for a night after. Yeah, it's probably in line with the night after pay-per-view. Last night we had a pretty big live audience, but I think part of it is because I think, and we want to love what WWE is doing, but they're making it very hard.
Okay. But how? I hate to. All right, I don't want to hear that I'm being Mr. Yeah, but. Yeah. I'm going to be but here. They have no fans. This is. I'm trying to speak from a former pro wrestler's perspective here, and thinking to myself, guys, I'm telling you, practice matches in front of your colleague is so hard.
Yeah.
Let alone an empty arena. Mm-hmm. It is so hard to get that adrenaline flowing once you hit your first bump. It really, truly is. It really, I cannot explain that enough. So some of these talents I give crazy, there goes my light, crazy credit for. Sorry. But it's the truth. It's so hard not to work, you guys and gals watch it, without adrenaline. It's so hard. And they're doing it every single week.
They should bring in that guy who films those empty warehouse matches and get him to talk people through it. He's an old hand.
Who's that? Who's that?
The guy, the warehouse story. You and Robbie E. The dude in the warehouse.
You shut your mouth, Glenn Rubenstein. Stop mocking me with Robbie E.
I am Vish. Super chat saying NXT is the same level playing field. Can they not just bring in Keith Lee in an NXT stable to destroy Raw and change the dynamics of WWE?
Okay.
I'm down for it.
That's me raising my hand there. I'm for that. Yes.
We've seen it happen with the Nexus, and what happened within 4 weeks, they were ruined. I have no faith.
Which is John Cena. Hang on. That's John Cena being incredulously selfish. If John Cena had half a brain, you don't think he should have made that play out longer?
No, it should have. It definitely should have. What I'm saying is, anytime you've seen something start that seemed like it's hot and could be interesting, whether it's the CM Punk pipe bomb or him winning the title and running off with it, and they squander it within a month, and sometimes within a couple of weeks. And so I just have no faith. If they brought in the NXT faction, Keith Lee, it would be hot for a week or two, and then they'd be beating all the NXT guys. Trust me. I mean, I've seen it year after, for 20 years.
So literally nothing Raj Giri just said do I disagree with. He's actually spot on. Yes, you're right. They give it a week or two, maybe 3 at best.
Yeah.
And the NXT is a great example of that, actually.
So Sean322, $5 saying Ray's going to make a comeback with the Three Stooges eye poke check as a counter move. The Three Stooges eye
poke. Okay, we're old enough to get that.
Yes.
The rest of you have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, no one talks about the Three Stooges anymore, or the Little Rascals. Like, I feel like ours was the last
What about this?
Oh, yeah.
All right, Glenn, what about this block?
Yeah,
Your eye poke comment.
Yeah.
Raj's not impressed. He's mad.
But I think part of it, though, what we're talking about, guys, is they stumble into moments, and they're good at moments. They're not good at long-term storytelling. Like, as much as they talk about, we've got the WrestleMania plan 8 months out,
which sucks, because if you look at old school Vince with the Hogan and Savage storyline, which was years, like it was a year and a half, and it took so long. Hogan and Andre, Undertaker and Kane, like they took their time, and they peaked, they peaked them at the right times, and it's just.
And in fairness, though,
here's
COVID.
The problem.
Yeah, sorry, man.
Here's the problem: they have networks breathing down their throat.
Yeah.
And say you need to fast forward Kane versus Undertaker, PS now, and all these other things that are happening with this. You gave great examples, actually. Seriously, especially like Macho Hogan, for example. That was such a good lord. I would kill for a storyline like that right now. Would you guys not?
Yeah, no, I would love it, but it seems wrestling's incapable of it. Joel Jose asked me what the big announcement is. Did I say I had a big announcement?
I'll tell it to you. He watched Goonies.
Yeah,
Raj watched Goonies. This guy watched Goonies.
I don't know if you meant William Regal's big announcement.
We kind of hyped up, Raj, that you were going to announce the Goonies thing.
Yes.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha.
Please deliver.
Yeah. I'm excited. You've got the best 2/3 of the movie ahead of you. You only got through the setup. You've only got the truffle shuffle and the part where Corey Feldman is talking to the housekeeper about where they keep the drugs and the bodies. Still cracks me up to this day.
You have not finished it yet?
No, he's only in the first act.
Yeah.
Come out, Raj. Okay, I'm just gonna call it out for what it is. You're totally trolling everybody. You did not start Goonies, not finish.
Every night, it's Saturday night was Slammiversary. Sunday night's Extreme Rules. The Friday night was my anniversary. Wait,
what? What was the last one?
The
anniversary
my wedding
was Friday
anniversary.
Night.
So
your wedding anniversary?
Yeah.
Yikes. Okay, so I feel
it's
terrible right now.
And he came on this podcast Friday night.
Yeah, so I can't start a
Congrats
to
to you and your
11.
beautiful bride. Okay, that's fair. That is your one shield. All the other stuff other crap you gave me does not count. That is the one shield I will give you. Kudos to you and the missus.
All right.
Keith Robinson saying, I understand wrestling needs live crowds, but honestly, when do we think that will happen? Your guess is as good as mine, man.
Yes, it is. Great answer.
I
have no idea.
NASCAR, they're now having crowds at the races.
They are or not?
They are. They had. It's like I think it's a third capacity. It was like 20,000 people they had at last week's.
Here's the thing. I think the NBA is going to be a big part of this. I don't know why I feel that way. I just do. Seriously. And NASCAR could play a part.
So baseball, they're calling it the second screen app, where you can cheer and boo into your phone, and then it takes all of the cheers and boos and creates this like authentic crowd noise that they're going to use during the games.
Okay, I give them credit for thinking outside the box, but are you shitting me? Really?
Yeah,
I'm going to do this. Hang on. Work. Oh, of course, when I need that. Where's my city phone? But anyways, I'm gonna be here streaming in my phone. Boo, White Sox or Yankees? Really?
Yes. Seriously. Look it up. MLB second screen experience.
Look up this one, Raj. And Raj, look up this one. Hashtag Blueprint says UGG.
All right, guys.
Guys.
Still got a lot coming up this week with podcasts on Wednesdays and Fridays.
Oh, that's right.
And I'm filling in for Justin this week. So
all Raj, all
How
the
do you
time.
feel about that? Tell me how you feel about that so far, Raj?
SmackDown, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough.
I'm gonna order through Instacart another case of the Bud Light with lime and lemon and orange, so I can get in the mood.
It'll be Friday Night Raj again this Friday.
There we go. Well, we're gonna be back here.
NWO Raj.
Yeah, it's
Why are you not
NWO
calling
Raj.
yourself NWO Raj? Wait that. You should
So-
make a
I feel
T-shirt.
weird referring to myself as that.
Yes.
We'll do it.
All right.
Sorry.
Okay, guys. So on that note, we'll be back here Wednesday night, the three of us, to talk about AEW and NXT. Until then, he's at BP Matt Morgan. He's at Raj Giri _303. I'm at Glenn Rubenstein. We'll catch you back here Wednesday night on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.
Sorry.